And good morning, there we are. We are down at the little drainage pond thing again, but this is just where we're starting the video today. It's a beautiful misty morning, only around 60 degrees. It's got a nice cool, wet feel to the air. I love it here. One of my favorite times of the year is late summer, early fall, when you get just a lot of cold mist or low-laying clouds that blanket everything. Like, I know it's difficult to understand if you don't live in a place like this, but some mornings the clouds are on the ground, but they're so diffuse that you don't really know you're in a cloud. Like, we're in a cloud right now. Like, if you look up, you can see how fast that fog is moving in relation to the clouds above them. Above it, I should say. See how fast it's moving? That's because we're actually in a ground-based diffuse cloud right now. It's all around us. See? It goes away over that way, but this whole area right now where I'm standing, like the acres and acres and acres in this area, we are standing in a ground level cloud right now, and it's fun. It feels good and it has a unique smell. It doesn't smell like anything else. And I just realized I'm missing nail polish on this finger. Something must have ripped it off in the night while I was sleeping. I didn't notice it till now. How about that? All right. That happens sometimes when you use the UV bake-on gel stuff. It's not like normal nail polish. It's like it becomes its own little plastic sheet, and sometimes it just comes off. Anyway, so we're going to talk about something today. Sunday, yesterday, since I record these on Monday morning and upload them Tuesday morning, yesterday was Sunday for me, and I spent all afternoon after church time hanging out with my friends who play the tabletop games again, the friends I've been going to see, and there's, 15 to 25 people in and out all day. Lots of people playing Age of Sigmar, people playing Battletech, etc. And so I hung out with them for like 5 hours again. And for the most part, the last 6 or 7 visits, I guess, maybe 6 times now, I've been going since it's like every other Sunday. The last several visits have been pretty good. This last one was good too. And I feel like I have friends again. There are 2 guys that I've met. I won't name their names, but they knew me from 20-some years ago. Back when me and my aforementioned buddy Roscoe used to run a gaming store together. And, it was his store, but I helped him run it. And we would run tournaments, whether it was card games, miniature games, etc. And 2 people that knew me from all the way back then said howdy to me. So that was pretty cool. So I definitely feel like I have friends. Now there's a little bit of sadness to go along with it. The vast majority of the people that are down at that shop are clueless NPC idiots about everything that matters. Race, politics, foreign relations, economics. They don't know shit. They only know what they absorb from fake news TV or comedians or what little bits they glimpse on the radio or on TV or whatever that they're not even paying attention to. And it's not like anybody down there is like a TDS blue hair. It's not like that. But I can tell from a few comments made that the people that are in my friend group, they don't like Donald Trump, and they think caring about politics is something that only agitators or bad people do. And that kind of hurts me a little bit. It makes me a little pissy because I've spent the last 10 years of my life trying to care, trying to find out what I should care about, what I can do with my time, with my vote, with my words, with my actions, to make things less awful. And they think that people who care about that are somehow flawed or damaged. And that kind of hurts me a little bit. And when I say they, I mean a couple of guys just made a one-off comment, laughing about something, and I could tell that I could tell what it was. And I've only heard one explicitly anti-Trump thing said there in the 6 or 7 weeks I've been hanging out with them. And it wasn't even anything bad. It was just making, like a comedian would make a joke about Trump, but you would have to believe the fake news media about what's going on to make that joke. See what I mean? And like another guy, that's my husband's friend, he made a joke about white people. And it wasn't because he's anti-white. It's because he was just repeating anti-white rhetoric in his own head. Like, we were watching some kind of riff tracks. I forget. The guys who did MST3K do a riff tracks. And I forget which movie it was. But I remember what it was. It was Neon Maniacs. And when the tall, deep-voiced black guy that's in John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness, he's in Neon Maniacs. And he pulls a gun just to play, with the kid. And my husband's friend was like, oh, that kid's lucky that the cop isn't white. He would have shot her. Like, this guy is not anti-white, right? But he's repeating the comedic rhetoric that has been popularized the last 15 or 20 years, which is anti-white. Because you and I, you listening to this right now, you know that statistically, Caucasian police officers in America are more responsible than other races. We know that a high percentage of violent crime, whether done by police officers to others or non-police officers to others, is in the large cities in America, and it's predominantly non-white people doing it. We know that. But my husband's friend didn't know that. He only knows what regular NPC people know. He only knows what he absorbs passively by being a consumer American. And so, I don't really know which is sadder. Because I got to thinking, when I heard that offhand comment yesterday at the gaming store, about how, people who care about politics, there's something wrong with them. Or, I forget, people who are engaged in politics, there's something wrong with them. To me, it's like the normie defense mechanism of, I'm too scared, I'm a bell curve consumer that doesn't know anything else, has no religion other than do what feel good, buy next product, enjoy comfortable life assigned to me by government and by corporation. They have to reject and belittle people who take life seriously. And I don't think they actively think about all of this. I just think that's the state of things. And that's why people will flippantly make fun of those of us who care and try to get engaged and do something about it. I think that on a subconscious level, they have to demonize or act like we are being extreme for caring, to absolve themselves of the sin of not caring. And unfortunately, I think that is most people. And I don't think that that's necessarily just an American problem, because I hear people that talk to me online in Canada, the UK, tell me similar problems. That people around them are a mix of clueless and careless and don't want to engage with anything real or talk about anything real. I think that this is a problem endemic to the modern era of Western civilization. And I don't know how to fix that, so I can't. And so we're getting to the part of the talk today that really matters, which is making peace, grieving, and moving on. I view the things I have learned and what I've experienced in the last 10 years since Gamergate. I view this sort of as a moratorium on the Yizz that was, on the world that I thought was. I have to mourn it. I have to move on. There are things that I can't change. And if I let those things consume me, I will be angry, incomplete, miserable, joyless, probably the rest of my life, if I feel like I can't rest until I fix everything. And so, as much as I want to do that, I know I can't. And that makes me sad, because I want to. I really want to. But I can't. We're going to stop here because it's pretty. As much as I want to make the people in my family, my husband's friends, the people at the gaming store, my old friends I used to know 15, 20 years ago and play tabletop with, I want them to care. I want them to know what I know. I want them to face the things that I've had to face, to unlearn all of the lies, to reshape what I think is healthy, righteous, moral, good. But I can't do that. I can't. It's not in me to do that. I've tried for years. I've accomplished very little. And I have to let it go. You have to let it go too. Because there is evidence out there for anyone who has a mind to look. There is enough material to read, to watch, to listen to from thousands of sources, whether they be on Odyssey, or Telegram, or YouTube, or Rumble, or even 4chan. There are sources out there rife with information for anyone who wants to go looking. And I tried to get those sources, that information to people for many years before I found Go Free. It didn't work. And then I found Go Free, and I said, hey, this is catchy, it's mimetic, it focuses on feels instead of facts, and it works okay. It works okay in regards to getting people, to forcing people, to trapping people to agree with you when you're talking. But it doesn't change them. Like when I bring up and say, oh no, that's anti-white, I don't like that. People either shrug or they nod and agree. Because they know that on a moral level, something shouldn't be anti-white. Just like something shouldn't be anti-black or anti-yellow or whatever, right? People know that. I mean, any decent person around me knows that. So they can't help but agree, right? They can't help but agree. And then when I use words like anti-whiteism, for example, just a couple weeks ago, I told someone, I don't say racist. I think that's an anti-white slur. Like, just look at how it's used. I say anti-whiteism instead of racism. Like, I just said that casually to someone when they said it. I don't want to spoil what was, or reveal what was going on, but I was talking to someone who I care about. They had someone, or he had someone in his life. I gotta stop using that neutral they shit. That happens to me because I read so much news and that crap happens all the time. Anyway, he said something about someone he worked with, and that it was something about racism at work or some shit. I forget exactly what it was. This was like 2-3 weeks ago. And when I said, you know, I don't use that. I think racist and racism are anti-white words. You know, I just say anti-whiteism. He nodded, and then just sort of went back to what he was talking about, and then we changed the subject. So, is that planting a good seed? Or is that just well-crafted rhetoric that subconsciously traps normal people into having to agree with you for that same shit I went over earlier about them, about regular people, them knowing that they have to look good and can't look evil on a subconscious level. And so they just bleat like sheep with whoever has the most intimidating moral rhetoric around them. And I think that's it. Because with my mother, with the people in my life, I have been chiseling at them with Go Free lexicon and Go Free practices and the Go Free practice. I've been chiseling into my loved ones and my friends for years now. They have not really changed hardly at all. Not really at all. Not that they were anti-white shitlibs before. They weren't. They're just normal Appalachian people that, like most people, don't care and don't think about anything bigger than them. They haven't really changed. They don't care. They don't have any more racial consciousness than they did years ago. At least that they express anyway. They haven't expressed any desire at all to do anything differently than they were before the Trump years, before the Obama years. Go to work, 401k, put some money into savings, maybe invest a little bit, enjoy my TV shows and my video games and playing in the yard with my kids and going to the lake in the summer, and they don't care about anything else. And I don't think that's just the people that live here. From what I've seen traveling this country, and from what I hear from people that live in other countries, this is the majority of white people everywhere. Weak, uninterested, selfish, sad. I think places that have had this anti-white mind rot the worst and the longest, like Germany, the UK, France, America, Canada, Australia. You can see the decay worse here than you can in other European countries. But then again, I don't talk to people in those countries. Maybe it's bad there too. I don't know. But what I do know is I have to get over it. So now we get to the part of the conversation where we talk about mourning. This is the real point that I wanted to talk about today. In previous videos, going through this thought process, documenting it here, I've said things similar to what I'm going to say now, but now I'm going to be precise about it. The reason why I feel like a dead person living a second life is because the morality I was raised under was tainted by this anti-white mind cancer, this jingoistic war machine propaganda. The country I was raised to love, the people I was raised and told I was a part of, don't exist. That simulacrum that never existed was very real to me. And I have to grieve and get over that. I am not part of a people who have an identity here. Not really. We have colloquialisms in this local East Tennessee area. We have an identity, but it's not like a real racial identity. It's like a colloquial little pocket community identity. And that's good. It's better than nothing. But it's not the identity I was raised believing I had. American doesn't mean anything except something bad. This country of ours is not a country that I like, that I want, or that I was told I had growing up. I've learned that the hard way. I've learned that the morality I was instilled with was perverted by all of that. I was raised by Baptist Christians in the East Tennessee hills that render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, that God will sort them out in the end, and that God works through the good men in our country, and that if you feel led by God to be a warrior, you should sign up for the military and help defend the greatest country on earth because it's God's will. And none of that is true. None of it. That stuff started to fall apart for me in the Obama administration many years ago. The grip was loosened after 9/11 for me during the televised Iraq War. I've talked about this before. I realized that my conceptions of everything were on life support then. And then Gamergate happened, and then I started going down rabbit holes, various truth rabbit holes, about famous assassinations, about moon landings, about flat Earth, about ancient aliens, about Vril and Hollow Earth. Very interesting stuff. I don't think most of that stuff is true. But a lot of the things that I went down did have a lot of truth in them. Like the JQ truth rabbit hole. Like a lot of things, like the sinking of the Titanic. You guys know about that? About maybe there was a second one. About insurance money. About political and financial enemies of the people who wanted to make the Titanic voyage, all being on that vessel when it went down, and none of them making it out. How that ties directly into Rockefellers. How that ties directly into a lot of things that have shaped economic and scientific policy, especially around certain things that rhyme with the word jacks in the modern era. I don't think that's bullshit. I think a lot of that's real. Then, of course, we have the 9/11 truth stuff. You guys know I'm big on that, especially the Pentagon stuff. And so it all started to sort of die for me, all of it. My identity in general was already dying. Being a cross-sexed, weird gender person, I've always struggled with any kind of identity because I don't even know what my body is wanting me to be. So I've always struggled with identity, and I have mental problems because of that. I'm not gonna say I don't. I do. And so, post Gamergate, I became a very angry, upset, black-pilled person because what tiny shreds of identity I had that I was trying to hold myself together with were obliterated. And so that's why I became passionate, extreme, crazy, obsessed, pick the word, with the culture war and with the media lies, because I realized just how much it affected me and how I basically wasted the best years of my life seeking the wrong things, selfish hedonism, bad choices of life partners, bad economic choices, bad scholastic education choices, because of the empire of lies we live in. Now, I know that this is not a unique experience to myself. I know that many, many people in their middle-aged years say, hey, nothing is what I thought it was because I'm older and wiser now, and I really wasted my younger years. I know I'm not unique in that. I get that. But I'm telling you my personal experiences here and how it's changed me and why I have to grieve, mourn, and move on. It's the only thing to do. I don't have a country. I barely have an identity. I certainly don't have a unified ethnic or racial identity to get behind. And the people around me that are of my own kin, my own blood, my own history, don't give a shit. They don't feel or care about anything ethnic or racial or identity or big picture at all. And I don't think they ever can. So I have to mourn and move on. Because I have two options for myself. I can turn my back on my husband, on my family, on our friends, and say, you didn't follow me on this path. You are all stupid normies. You don't get it. You're all stupid. You're all too beetle-headed. And then I would be alone. I would have no one and nothing except internet friends. People who get it, who understand it, who are with me in all of this. And what do I do with that? Sit alone in a room. Talk to a camera. Talk to a microphone. Telegram, Discord, Twitter. That's not a life. That's not a life. Or I mourn who I was in the before time, and I mourn who I've been since Gamergate. And I let them both die, and I move on. And I say, I'm middle-aged. If I'm lucky, I might have another 30 good years. Maybe. If I'm not lucky, one of my genetic oddities will kill me earlier than that or make me start to lose my mind, as does sometimes happen. So I might have a lot of years, I might not. And so I think to myself, in this beautiful East Tennessee environment, where it's almost entirely ethnically, racially homogenous of my people, where I have family and friends who love me, and for the time at least, I have really good security here, both to crime and physical danger, and economic security. I have all of the building blocks to have a good life. It's only up here that keeps me from being a much happier, more engaging person that has friends and loved ones and family members and activities and things to do. This is all that stands in the way of me having that life and enjoying the wonderful blessings and amenities I have here. It's here. It's not out here. It's all in here. So I have to let it go. Because I see two horizons for me. One of them is less bleak than the other. The less bleak one is letting everything that I've learned and cared about and become passionate about in the last 10 years fade away. And try to enjoy the fellowship, communion, beautiful landscape, and really nice, pleasant, funny friends and family I've got, and let that be my life and what gives me fulfillment. Or the bleaker horizon, where I give up all of that to yell into the void and to try to manipulate people via social media and try to hack society. I'll be honest with you. I want the latter. But it's not healthy to want the latter. And I know that now. I don't want to be a miserable loner that has sacrificed family and health and friends and everything for this cause. Because I think if I do that, I won't last long. Because if I go that path and that self makes manifest the things that it wants, it's all selfish in a way. I want to be a warrior that fights a war. I want to be valorous. I want to fight evil. That's a very, maybe even vainglorious type of thing. And it doesn't lead me to having a healthy life. It leads me to perhaps contributing to the social war, to the culture war, to the literal war against white people. But I would burn myself up doing that. I might get a few years of success out of that before I just lose my mind and either kill myself or go out in a blaze of glory committing a terrorist act. Maybe a few years I could last. Or I don't. I look at the other horizon and I say, hey, look at that. See, there's nobody over there, but it is pretty, isn't it? If I walk over towards that fog and then pretty mountains and then pretty hills and trees, well, it might be lonely, but it'll be beautiful. And the creatures there, they're dumb. And on a bad day, they might accidentally hurt me or try to eat me because they're just dumb creatures. But at least I won't be alone. And I'll be enjoying God's country and God's creation like He meant me to. Surrounded by loved ones that look like me and talk like me. And we do the best we can to love each other and get through each day. And I feel like that's how we're supposed to live. Not being a radicalized warrior with no friends, with no family, that just fights the machine. I don't think we're supposed to be that. As much as my warped mind that sees myself as some weirdo video game character, as much as my warped mind thinks that's what I should do, that's not what we were meant to do, and I don't think that's what God wants me to do. I think God or our gods or whatever, the way that we are is to celebrate life and love and have friends and family and a community and an ethnicity and be actively involved in others' lives. The joy and the pain, the loss, the birth of having friends and family members in a community. I think that's what I'm supposed to do. Even if up here I feel like I should reject that. I shouldn't. I have to let it go. I have to realize people are people. And a very, very small percentage of people will ever think and feel like I do on things. And I have to make my peace with that. And so that's what I've been doing the last couple of weeks, is I've been letting that part of me die. I've been petting its hair. I've been holding its hand. And I've been trying to help it die. So I can live a different, better, healthier way. And it ain't easy. Because a big part of me rejects it. Those of you that have read my Substack article, The Two Selves, you understand what I mean. You get it. So that's where I'm at. The zealous, angry, bitter warrior, dissident, freedom fighter, reactionary that I am. I'm having to help die. I'm killing it on purpose. I have to. Maybe you don't have to. Maybe you can do both. I can't. I'm too obsessive. I'm too polarized. I have to let that me be put to rest. Because if not, it's going to lead me to ruin, and maybe others along with me. And I don't think that's what God wants. I don't think God wants me to live that way. I think God, whatever it or he or she or they are, our God or gods, would probably rather me invest my time and energy into people that I grew up with, my family, my community, the people I live around. And even if they're always going to have their heads in the sand, and even if they're going to be easily manipulated by propaganda, my life is probably better served tending to them, caring about them, being invested in their lives, instead of just fighting the culture war 24/7 in my own head. I think it's healthier for me and probably healthier for them if I stop just being an internet recluse all the time and get more active with them than I have been the last couple years. So that's what I'm going to work on. And I know this video is really long, but it's important that I share all of this, that I document all of this, not just for me, but for anyone that needs to learn these lessons, for anyone who's trying to work this shit out for themselves. Maybe you can benefit from the things I'm saying. Maybe you're not as obsessive, or because you're not gender fucked like I am. Maybe you don't have this lack of identity and identity confusion that I've always had. So it doesn't hit you as hard as the last 15 years has hit me with all this cultural decay, anti-white stuff. Maybe it doesn't hit you as hard. But it did me. And this is where I am. I'm 45 years old. And I've still got a lot to work out. And unless there's a ticking time bomb of genetics in me, which there likely is of some sort, I might have another good 30 or 40 years in me. And I don't want them to just be me living in a box angrily fighting the machine that hates me. I want to live. I want to love. I want to laugh. I want to feel joy again. And I'm doing my best to try to find it. And I have to do that by engaging with the bell curve idiot sheeple that are my people. And that's what I have to make peace with, is that. It's been really long, so I'm going to wrap it up here. No Empire of Lies this week because Chris is on vacation. We might have a pickup stream just to fill the slot, but maybe not, because he wanted some time off on his vacation. But I'll definitely be back next Monday night for more Discordant Dragons. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Love yourself and love those around you. Do the best you can to live a fulfilling life that matters. God bless.